Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have a lot more even bigger evolving drama from today. Today just kind of seems like a really big drama news day, especially as of right now. We also have the Game of the Year awards coming up pretty soon. If you guys want to check that out, well, the Twitch link down below will probably be co-streaming that. But a big thing to note is that we're now seeing Sony respond now to Microsoft. And we're going to have to give maybe a little bit of context too, because I don't think I ever made a video on this originally. But basically now Xbox and Nintendo had a little bit of a deal that seemed like it was agreed upon as being kind of pushed. But then we also had, as of earlier on today, if you guys missed that video, check that one out for a lot more context after this one's all done, in terms of like that the FTC may want to go and try their best to stop this regulatory body and do a lot more of a deeper dive and kind of essentially sue Xbox and Microsoft to make sure this deal doesn't go through, which is obviously really bad. But now we're actually finally seeing Sony now responding, basically calling out Nintendo, calling out Xbox, and basically assuming that these other folks don't even really matter. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to go cover. So as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or $500 giveaway. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to follow. We also are once again having a really big Samsung sale. All these will be linked down below. There'll be the perfect SSDs for your PS5, console, computer, etc. All on sale, linked down below. And of course, just appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Amazon links and all that too as well down below. So as I mentioned, first and foremost, Microsoft was in the news about 1 day ago. As you guys know, I was at a funeral, very unfortunately. But there was a big combination with that. Basically, Phil Spencer himself tweeted out stating that Microsoft has entered into a 10-year commitment to then go bring Call of Duty to Nintendo following the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King. Microsoft is committed to helping bring more games to more people, however they choose to go and play. Now, initially, before, this was maybe 1 or 2 days ago, and this was a good news story. If you care about the Activision acquisition, you care about Xbox or whatever, Game Pass, it's kind of good. It's basically saying, yeah, the same 10-year deal we offered Sony, well, it looks like other industry partners, such as Nintendo, went and took it. Now, the one bigger, weirder thing is that I don't really know too many folks who actually play Call of Duty on the Switch, and as well, I haven't really seen the Switch usually market a lot of big Call of Duty games. It's like they care more about kids, Mario, Smash, Mario Kart, whatever it may be, Zelda. Well, I'm sure it's there, and I'm sure they can maybe integrate it with it. That might be fine. Now, as a quick side note, too, before we get to Sony's responses, that also did open up a lot more folks kind of being curious on if there's going to be a Switch Pro or a new generation of Switch. Now, within that 10-year period, almost absolutely, but it would almost be kind of weird to try to go and sell Call of Duty on a 7-year-old console that was already kind of outdated when it first came out. So a lot of folks are also having that secondary push where it actually might lead towards a closer than expected Switch Pro, Switch 2, Super Switch, whatever you want to go and call it. But basically, this is basically confirming that Microsoft and Nintendo had deals and it went through. But the funny thing is that Sony has now responded to Nintendo and Microsoft's callouts. So Sony responds to Microsoft and thinks that the Nintendo Switch couldn't even run Call of Duty. And I would actually, first of all, before just off the clickbait alone, I agree. The Switch hardware is horrendous. It's not good. It's not something we like to go and see, and it really is kind of just slacking in this day and age. Now imagine trying to run the newest Call of Duty on that. It would probably look like it's, I don't know, from a game from 2001, very low FOV, very low frame rate, very bad textures, everything in between, and I'm sure multiplayer would barely even work. Now, if they made a new iteration, sure, but I'd probably agree on this take so far. That, maybe if you want to compare it to, say, Steam or something, sure, but right now it's not looking too good. So Sony has responded to Microsoft's announcement of a 10-year deal that would like to see Call of Duty arrive on the Nintendo platform, and they don't sound impressed. Me either. The report comes from the journalist over at MLX, which is paywalled over here, which reveals that Sony finds that the Nintendo arrangement to be misleading or smoke and mirrors. According to MLX's reporting, Sony believes that there's a reason that Activision Blizzard hasn't already bought the iconic shooter series over to Nintendo platforms, which I think they did back in the day on the Wii and stuff. So the younger audience would not receive the game well, which I would agree with that. I'm sure there's some folks or some parents who might buy it, but more so we just know these games are mediocre. If you guys ever played this on, say, the Wii, it was horrible. It was really bad. It was fun if you had no other option, sure, but it wasn't good. And the Switch was also saying that they wouldn't even be able to go run a Call of Duty game, and if it did, it'd just be a very, very mediocre product. If you compare any other game, like a Witcher, from PC or Xbox or PS5 to the Switch, stuff like that. Sonic Frontiers had a lot of issues on the Switch and a lot of performance issues. I think it's just case in point. And I would agree with that too as well. And they even go and say, to understanding of Sony's position, Nintendo Switch could not run Call of Duty easily and may at this point never be able to. Which once again is kind of why a lot of folks are maybe assuming or thinking about a Super Switch, but that's separate video for a separate day. So basically with this argument, Sony is trying to suggest that Microsoft announced the 10-year Nintendo deal, as well as Valve's Steam deal, as a means to look cooperative in the massive regulators currently investigating the company, which would make sense because all these responses were even maybe before the filings were done from earlier on today. Although maybe they knew, and if they're involved in the court case, maybe they knew it was coming. That would maybe make sense, I guess. But I really want to hear your thoughts because we're going to ramble about this a little bit because it's kind of a big deal when it comes to this. So basically right now it does have their Microsoft deal and Valve Steam deal, and that's basically two of the other really big competitors. We usually think consoles are the big three, so two of them are on board, PlayStation isn't. So in a general sense, it's 2 against 1. But as well, same with Steam, it kind of bumps it a little bit higher to like a 75% against 1, where Steam is like, yeah, I'm sure, if you're going to buy it either way, and we're going to have to deal with Game Pass, might as well let us go get a 10-year deal out of the deal, because it's better than nothing. And then same with Nintendo as well, they're like, well, maybe with our Switch 2, Switch Pro, Switch whatever, maybe we'll have a chance to get some more sales. It's kind of like a why not type of deal. But that's why those guys are kind of more or less players. Steam is on every PC game, indie, etc. And I don't think they necessarily really need Call of Duty to strive, for Steam as a PC guy. They have so many other options. They have CSGO for their own game, etc. But when it comes to PlayStation, that is still the #1 selling game on PlayStation. And that's kind of why they're trying to say, yeah, Steam's cool, but that's a PC market. Doesn't affect the console market in any way, shape, and form. Yeah, Nintendo's cool and all, but our competition is between me and you, buddy, like Xbox, imano with PlayStation. While Nintendo itself is kind of, once again, I think anyone with a brain would probably agree, it's good, it's there, but it has its own, family custom niche, and that's pretty much about it. So it kind of goes to show that these people are taking this a lot more serious. Sony's doing some huge pushback, trying to call out the best they can, and kind of basically saying this is fluff. Yeah, it's a cool little PR announcement to go tweet this, because it did get 47,000 tweets. I almost made a video on it, but I was busy with the funeral yesterday, and everything in between. And I kind of agree, I would never in my mind as a gamer be I'm going to get my Nintendo Switch COD first PC or PS5 or Xbox. Now, like I said, some parents might only have a Switch, or maybe, some younger folks maybe only have that option, which is fine, I guess, but I do also agree it's not really the niche. It's a family console, maybe. If they buy it, they'll probably play it an hour or so, maybe just off my own experience, I'm not sure, I might be biased. But yeah, it's crazy to see, because also just a 10-year deal isn't apparently enough for a lot of these regulators. As we talked about in the video earlier on today with all these big moments, the FTC does not want this deal to go through. They think there's a huge antitrust issue and monopoly issues that are forming. As they kind of go and see this stuff, I kind of somewhat agree, because it's just all around not a good situation. So this is rough. Sony's trying to be no, this is just not looking good. Now, I'm not really sure if Sony's trying to be more of a crybaby at this point, because they're very, very hard locked on this, but I keep on saying in terms of a business, I'd be in the same boat. If I could potentially be losing millions of dollars and then have to spend billions of dollars to develop competitive countermeasures, yeah, you bet your sweet patootie I'm going to probably be trying my best to stop this deal. So as we mentioned, they are still having a lot more of this regulatory scrutiny. So a lot of these key markets in the US, with the FTC issues today, and the UK, which has been a little bit more, not as stern or not as anti these deals, but definitely not fully on board. As we kind of see this type of stuff, we're seeing all these potential market domination issues and these antitrust issues and monopoly issues and a lot of streaming issues. So we went way more in depth on the previous video if you guys want to watch that. But as we see this stuff, it's just crazy to see. So basically, while Sony did so and say that they believe that the Switch can never run a Call of Duty game, Phil Spencer's tweet, as I mentioned, never specified which Nintendo platform that would be. And with a Switch being 6 years old, they could maybe be trying to be forward thinking and try to get a 4K Switch, all that type of stuff tied on in that could potentially maybe handle a Call of Duty game. So I still think Sony has a somewhat okay case, more so in the general idea of it's hard for new companies to come in, it's hard for streaming platforms to commit, it's hard to go and build a Call of Duty competitor, but at the same time, I'm curious if this deal's going to go through. I almost want to go through because that means I get easy Game Pass Call of Duty and other games and maybe things like World of Warcraft, etc. But at the same time, that's only because Microsoft's playing nice. In the future, they could always raise up prices. In the future, after 10 years, they could choose to not renew the contracts. Some folks are like, yeah, they paid the money for it, they're allowed to. And some folks are like, nah, if I buy a PlayStation with me and my buds, I kind of want to go and be able to go play all my games. So A lot of stuff to cover over here. Give me your thoughts. A lot of just crazy days. Make sure you guys also are checking out the Samsung links down below for their brand new SSDs on sale. You have the Twitter and Twitch room down below in case you guys want to follow. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X or $5 giveaway. We also do have the Target Amazon links too, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.